Hello and welcome to season 4 of Be Here Now, the Peaceful Empowerment Work Show, where presence invites perspective and allows peace. We are live on the newstreamingnetwork.com, WGSN-DB Going Solo Network Radio, TV, and podcast. I am your co-host, Judy Forder, and as you can see, if you're watching, my co-host in peace, Miss Janice Leonard, is off vacationing with her friends this week. I am excited to welcome back to the show Mr. Greg Pituch. He's going to be coming forward to chat with us about his new book, Xin Xin Ming, How to Live Without Attachment in Today's World. But before we do that, I want to share with you all again what's new for you in season 4. Last week, we were honored to open up our season 4 with Elohim Magdalena Rosa. She did a teaching and a transmission and activation called The Divine Child Remembers Eden, and she's doing a 6-part series with us. So the first show of every month, she's coming back to do another teaching, transmission, and activation. Her next show will be August 6th. The Body is the Grail. So mark it on your calendars. Be sure to come watch it. The other thing new that we're offering this season is the Be Here Now monthly chat and chew. We want you to grab a drink and a snack, then join us on the last Saturday of each month for an opportunity via Zoom to chat about show topics of the month, do guest Q&As when possible, and anything else that's on your heart. We're intentionally keeping the group small at about 10 to ensure connection can be made. And if you're interested in reserving a spot for the first Be Here Now monthly chat and chew on July 25th at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, please email me, judyforder@comcast.net, and include Be Here Now, CNC in the subject line. All righty. I have to do Janice's spiel today. Many people may not know, but we are part of the Peaceful Empowerment Works nonprofit. It is a 501c3 organization. If you would like to support our mission, so that we can continue sharing various pathways to peace, creating and establishing this platform for people such as Greg to come and share their works and the gifts that they're putting out there in the world, feel free to go to peaceful.empowermentworks.org. There is a donation at the top of the page and a donation at the bottom of the page. Again, that is a tax-deductible donation. We would greatly appreciate it. If you cannot do that, or even if you can, we would still appreciate you hitting that like button, comment, share, and subscribe. All right, I am finished with my end, and moving on to Pathways of Peace, I would like to talk to you a little bit about Greg Pituch. Greg Pituch is a spiritual teacher, writer, and ultrarunner committed to guiding others toward wholeness and inner unity. As a devoted husband and father of 5, he seeks to live and teach in alignment with values of balance, resilience, compassion, and lifelong growth. Rooted in the conviction that spiritual growth must integrate body, mind, and spirit, Greg blends his expertise in nutrition, endurance training, and competitive practices. His writings and teachings invite people to walk the great way to oneness, an experiential path of connection beyond separation, grounded in mindfulness and authentic presence. His parenting and marriage are not separate domains, but integral arenas for deepening practice, compassion, and real-life embodiment of the wisdom he shares. Greg's life and work express a commitment to walking his path, balancing the demands of family, teaching, writing, and spiritual growth, while inviting others to discover their own path of greater wholeness, presence, and connection. Please welcome back to the show, Mr. Greg Pituch.
Hey.
We're so excited to have you back. And you know what? You are my go-to man. What is this, the second or third time you've acted as my co-host when Janice is off vacationing or doing something?
Yeah, I think it's the second time.
Yeah. I was like, hey, Greg, any interest in coming on the show and sharing your book?
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah, so you were like, count me in. So thank you so much for coming to be my partner in crime today.
Yeah, of course.
I'm super excited because I know this book has been in the works for quite some time. And it's come to life. You have brought that vision that you have held in your head to life now to share with the world. And I am so excited that you're sharing it here on our platform. So thank you.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. And finally, the book's going to go live, I think, in a day or two. We've just had some snags with the KDP format. They're very they stick to their kind of like their formatting rules and how things have to be, which is what you get when you work with that. But that's fine. We'll work through it. My editor and person that's helping me format and do all the work, her name's Valerie, and she has her her business is Valerie Lorraine Productions, and she does an awesome job with she has spent so many countless hours, I'm sure, that I don't even know about, reading and rereading the book and helping to edit it and helping to format it and helping to upload it and deal with my questions and my vision. And if anybody, and I'm just going to do a plug for her, if you don't mind, but if anybody would ever want to publish their own work, and want to get in contact with her, just message me, and I'd happy to to hook you up with her and see if you guys would work well together, because everybody that you come across may not be the right fit. Right. But she was definitely the right fit for me, and I know she has done so many things behind the scenes to help with this book being published and everything. She's just been an absolute, just wonderful person to work with. So
excellent. Yeah. Excellent. Okay, so my first question for you is, some of you may remember that Greg was on the show talking about his XinXin Ming daily reflections. So the daily reflections actually came out first.
Yes, it was the cart before the horse. Yep.
And that's what, it was great. For me, I was like, I think it's great because it gave me little chunks to digest, because I get overwhelmed. I get overwhelmed with little print on a lot of words on pages. So this was perfect. So I could just bite it off in little chunks and think about it that way instead of reading the whole thing all at once. Mm-hmm. So for me, this was the perfect process. Now I'm familiar with some of it and how it's worded and all that. So reading the book and then being able to read your interpretations, I think, are just going to help stimulate even more thoughts and wisdom of my own. So thank you for doing that. My question to you is, what motivated you to write the book?
Well, I mean, we were talking, and you know the answer to this. So, I mean, it's you. So, what a question, to ask. How self-serving, can you get? But yeah,
no,
I mean,
no, wait a minute. I wasn't trying to be self-serving. I was talking. You're the one that brought the XinXin Ming to me.
Right.
I read this and I was like, no, I've never heard of it. And you started talking about it, and you were you were just lighting up and so enthusiastic about it. And anytime we would see each other, you would talk more about it. Right. So it's not self-serving. I was just pointing out the obvious. I suggested, hey, you might want to write a book because your interpretations of it really landed with me. Like, I could read the words of the XinXin Ming and it'd be like garbly. Right. I could read the words, but I couldn't digest them. Your interpretation helped me digest it.
I understand. I get that. That's funny because we just talked about that. That was a good setup. So I guess honestly, whenever,
like, what initially drew you to XinXin Ming?
Like in my whole, kind of spiritual journey, awakening journey, whatever, it is you want to call it. And I still do like to listen to, like Ram Dass. I really, like his teachings and just the way that he speaks, amongst other people as well. But at that moment in time of my life, I was writing a ton, and I would just sit down and just write about what I was going through, just random stuff about, spirituality or awakening or enlightenment, or, like the ego versus your higher just writing about, whatever. Sometimes I'd write for an hour in the morning, sometimes for 20 minutes, and I'll call it random because I never knew what I was going to write about. I just would sit down, open myself up, and boom, and sometimes Aim would be like, well, what did you write about? And I'd say, I don't even know, because I was right. You know what I mean? Because you're just writing and you're not thinking. It's just, just going a mile a minute. So
I think that free flow writing.
Okay. Yeah.
They've named it now.
There we go. So that's what that was. And, still is to a point, when I do that, but I've been working so much on the book that I haven't really spent time doing that. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to kind of focus, like maybe have a focus, to the writing. So I heard him talk about a line from the Xin Xin Ming, which was the first one in one of his lectures, that basically says the great way is easy or not difficult for those who have no preferences. And, they kind of made a joke about it because obviously, who doesn't have preferences, right?
Right.
And I was like, man, the Xin Xin Ming, I wonder what that is. That sounds, interesting. I want to look more into it. So I just, looked it up and, found it online and read through it. And I was like, oh gosh, this is really interesting. Like, this really resonates with me. I want to do something, with this. Mm-hmm. So basically that same day I printed it out, and the way that it printed, it kind of broke itself up into lines. And I did sometimes move up maybe a line here to there, or, kept it in order. But like, for instance, like if the printer, let's say, had 4 lines in a row that were just single lines, like maybe I was like, oh, I'm going to combine those and actually write about both of those, or whatever it is. And then I just had, and here are the papers, that I had from the very beginning. I'll kind of put one in front of me, like it's all tattered, and this was the start of the book, but it was the lines, and I would just carry these around with me in my journal, and then just write about them, just wherever I might be. I remember one time, and I think I remember this time specifically because it just doesn't seem like you would do this in this space, but I was at one of my daughter Cecilia's dance competitions in Lancaster, and there's girls screaming and there's music blaring and bass thumping and lights flashing, and I was just sitting in a chair reacting to these lines. Or like when Crosby was wrestling, I would do it as well. And it was just it was a great piece to focus on. Mm-hmm. And then I think that's when you and I talk, and I talk to you about this, and then you're like, oh man, you should put this in a book. And I never really thought about it. At that point I was just more writing, I don't say my reactions, but my my interpretations, right, in today's world of what these lines meant, because the Xin Xin Ming was written back in the 600s. Mm-hmm. And as I said in my book, the world was just infinitely small back then, because you were kind of stuck, geographically where you were. There wasn't really an easy way to get out of your space. Right. Now the world is just infinitely small, right? Yeah, the world back then was infinitely large. You couldn't, you just had your section, right? But now it's infinitely small, where you can go anywhere at any moment. I can walk the streets of Paris on, Google Maps if I want to right now, or I can, like you and I aren't near each other and we're talking right now, or whatever it might be, or we can hop on a plane and go wherever. So, and all we have are attachments in front of us, and preferences in front of us, and things to choose from, and, stressors in our life. So it was interesting to see an ancient manuscript back from the 600s, mm-hmm. where you might only see your village for your whole life. And how can that be, that same sort of thought process or, way of living, how can we do that, nowadays when it's honestly needed, more than ever, because we are bombarded with so many things.
Absolutely.
And
And
also,
that's where I found your insights and interpretations so helpful, because that ancient text, like I said, I could read the words and I understood what the words meant, but they didn't land to me. You being able to take that and apply it to situations currently in today's world is really what helped me. And that's why I thought it'd be important that you write a book
yeah,
because we
yeah.
really do need it now. We absolutely need it more than ever.
And that's like, we talk about even preferences, that first line, or there's a line how like a wise man doesn't fetter himself with goals, or there's so many lines and you're like, well, but goals keep us in action, or preferences is our way of life. And it's, you have to look past that and kind of connect with it. You can't take it that literally, right? It's more of the attachment to your preferences, or perhaps you do have a goal in mind, and goals are important, right? Because that gets us moving in a certain direction, but
Right.
don't be attached with that goal that you might have set, because who knows when you're beginning to move in that direction, how the universal flow of things will take you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're tied to that goal and you have like blinders on, then that goal might have been the beacon to get you moving in a direction,
Mm-hmm.
but that might not be your end all be all. I mean, who knows where you're going to go? And if you're open, then you'll see that, and you'll be okay with here and going there. And it's not being scatterbrained, or it's not being like unmotivated, or not thinking clearly, but you're just being open to the possibilities of life. And that maybe was the thing that put you in action. Right. Or, I mean, we all have preferences. I mean, we just got ice cream last night, and Aim and the kids all have their favorites, but if that favorite isn't there, the day isn't ruined, or you're not all of a sudden throwing a fit. It's like, all right, well, hey, I'll try this new thing, or hey, I'll do that. So it's the attachment to those things and making those things the end all be all, not just having an openness to seeing where life takes you in that moment.
Yeah. And see, I feel like you made a beautiful point. The goal is the thing that can ignite the movement. But if we're solely focused on that goal, then we're limiting ourselves to what we can experience.
Right.
So, and that's a perfect example of what I'm saying. Greg takes it, puts it in different terms, and I'm like, yes, that lands for me. That makes total sense. It's good to have a goal. And we can only create that goal based on our experience and what we know already. Well, we're finding that really what we know is not much at all. So if we leave ourselves open to new experiences and we're curious, take off the blinders and, yes, this is where I'd like to be. Okay, how do I get there? Show me the way.
Right. That's the thing that starts your journey, and it's to take part in it, right? And to move forward with it, and not just be still and be, not moving in life. I mean, you need to be able to move and not move kind of at the same time, right? Like it's good to move towards something, but not be emotionally attached, or, have emotional reactions, to that attachment of whatever it is that you're moving to. Because, I mean, we don't know the future, and your goal could be so small compared to where moving towards that goal actually takes you. And if you do have those blinders on, you might reach your goal and think that you did something wonderful, but gosh almighty, what you may have missed, in the big picture of things, if you're just so hyper focused on, on that one thing, that you're not letting the true kind of like flow of your life go where it's meant to go.
Yeah, I love that. Flow of your life. It's a flow. It ebbs, it flows. And, we're born into a world where everything feels so rigid. So to learn these old concepts in the new world, yes, it takes quite a bit of energy to wrap your brain around it at first, but it's very freeing, because I picture attachments now as like a ball and chain.
Oh yeah.
You know, thanks to Greg and his interpretations, I really see attachments as a ball and chain. So when Greg and I were talking a little bit before the show, I feel like there are things stirring up in all of us that have been the balls and chains of our existence that we haven't fully cleared or haven't realized. And they're coming up now. So the book, divine timing, Greg. We just have to give it up to divine timing.
Right.
For this book to come out at a time when people are going to start understanding that I do have attachments to things, and maybe it would be healthier for me to let them go. This is a perfect book for them to read, a great resource for them to dig into it.
Yeah. And it's a start, and it's hard. I mean, it can be hard and it can be messy, and man, sometimes you feel like you're going the wrong way, but it's kind of like when you clean out your room or clean out your closet, you got to make more of a mess before you can actually organize things and put it back together again. And I mean, I've been through it. I'm thinking like, what is going on? I'm making more of a mess of my life, or things are just getting way murkier, and I'm supposed to be going down in this like healing, direction. But when you make that initial mess to clear everything out, then you open that space up for, the light and the love and the trust and, all the goodness to kind of come in, and you can sort of reorganize it, then decide what hasn't been serving you, well, and what has been making your life a little more stressful than what it needs to be. And then you can, send that out to Goodwill for someone else to pick up. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. You don't want to do that. Just get rid of it, like embrace it. We talk about like you embrace it, you identify it, you honor it, and then, you heal it. You don't pass it on to somebody else. Don't do that.
That's hilarious. Okay, on that note, I think we will take our commercial break and we'll be right back. Hello and welcome back to Be Here Now, the Peaceful Empowerment Work Show. We are here with Greg Pituch. He is just releasing his second book, Xin Xin Ming, How to Live Without Attachments in Today's World. And we're going to chat more about the book now. It was funny. I had a question when we went into break about, you had this vision in your head once you decided you were going to write this book. How much has it changed from that original vision to what you have on paper now? Did it change?
Okay.
Did it evolve? How was that process for you in here and in here?
So once I started writing like on this, and then once this person named Judy told me I should write a book about it, and I was like, oh yeah, that I can try that. Sure. Why not? And every time I saw this person, she kept telling me that. So I was like, okay, I'll try. I'll work on it. So then what took place was basically, and my writing, it's a mess because it's in all of these like little journals and things. They're all over the place. Sometimes I would write forwards and then backwards because I would start at the end of a journal and write backwards. Sometimes I would start at the beginning of a journal and write forward, like most of us do. But that's basically, so I would take, one of the lines that I initially, wrote about, like a couple sentences of like an interpretation or what I think that meant. And then I would just, take a line. I would read through what needed to be written about and just sort of open up and think, all right, are these the lines that, I'm going to write about today? And then I would just kind of go through that process just to see what really connected with me, in that day or in that time span that I was, writing about it. And most of these were just one sitting, writings. So like most of the chapters would me just, I would just sit and just write it, and that was basically the chapter. And then I, obviously I went back and edited things and stuff, but, so this is like what, this chapter is: the way is like vast space where nothing is lacking and nothing is in excess. So I took that on November 16th and I, wrote about it, and, just whatever.
So how does that look in the book now?
So then I typed it all up, and then I just, honestly, when I thought about it, I just thought about, something, honestly, like I was thinking, man, this is going to be, and I was fine with it. It was just going to be almost like a small pamphlet of a book because, my writings weren't super long, I don't know. I just didn't think it was going to be that much. So I thought it was going to be more like my journal companion, where it was going to be, kind of thin and small and, whatever that. But then I did see another book on, I forget what the topic was. I think it was on like herbal medicine or something. And it was really cool because they would have pictures of the plants, and then that herb, whatever it was, that natural therapy or whatever. And then they wrote about it. And I was like, that's super cool. I think I I could really see that being just interesting, or cool or neat, whatever word you're looking for my book. So then I went to a website that basically you just can give credit to, to photographers, and their free pictures. And I would just like maybe type in what would be the title of my chapter, or some of the words of the Xin Xin Ming, or, whatever keywords I was kind of looking for. And then I would just scroll through the pictures, and I was like, oh, that's it. Boom. That's the one. I mean, and it was just like that. I mean, it was just once, when you're connected and it's like, you don't know what you're looking for, but you know what you're looking for because your higher self knows. And as soon as you see it, it's just like, that's it. Boom, move it over. Cause like I showed you, this is like one of my favorite pictures. I just love that picture of the chapter entitled No Goals. And I just love that monk walking up the steps with like, part of the Buddha head, taking a look at him. Or there's other pictures in here that just, when I see them in print, I'm like, man, that is, super cool. Like here's, Mother Mary kind of like in a recess of the wall with, the chapter 1 essence. So, it just really, I personally have a preference, with it. I love it. I mean, I just think it's great. So then I did that, and I did that process. And, when I was working with Valerie, my editor and my formatter, the book, this is what I told her I wanted. And she's like, yeah, go for it. And so then, I kind of said, all right, instead of just having the lines and the writing, let's do the picture and then the title page. And then I'm going to take an excerpt from the chapter and put it underneath, because that's kind of like, I feel like the essence of the chapter, if you will. And then let's put the chapter in. And then I'm like, oh, I know what I want to do too. I want to put either Om Mani Padme Hum after each chapter. So then after each chapter, it's either Om Mani Padme Hum. And then at the very end, it all comes together with what it means. It means the jewel in the lotus, and then I have a picture of the lotus there at the very end. Now, before that, and I'm sorry that I'm kind of just flipping all around.
No, I love it.
I have it, all together in Sanskrit, And then I have it in what it means in English at the very end. So the whole chapter, at the end of each chapter, it rotates through. So chapter 1, Monet, chapter 2, you know what I'm saying? And then at the very end is when it all comes together. And then instead of chapter numbers, we just, I entitled them and we put page numbers, because honestly, with this book, you don't need to read it in a certain order. And we didn't want to give it that orderly feel.
Mm-hmm.
The Xin Xin Ming lines are in order, but you could honestly just turn to page 135 is attached to enlightenment, and you can read it and, see how it pertains to your life or get whatever it is out of it. And then that's why we made the journal companion. So then you can go to that, to that line and then, write about what you feel it means or how it does affect your life personally, or what do you, interpret it as. I almost wanted it more of like almost like a back and forth discussion piece where I could have what I think and you could have what you think, and we could even just like talk about it and see our perspectives on it, and just, be open to like, oh my gosh, yeah, that's amazing. I never thought of it that way. Here's how I thought of it. Oh, wow. That's so neat, so it's not even my interpretations are meant to be the interpretations. It's the interpretations that I was kind of guided and open to writing. And I guess my hope would be if someone would read this, that it would, allow them to, see their life in a new way and be able to, soften their attachments and soften their, their suffering. So it's like we talked about this at the beginning of our pre-show. It's kind of like, in my life, it used to be where, if, you're walking on the beach and you have that broken bottle and there's shards of glass in the sand and you step on it, the pieces of glass go into your foot, and man, do they ever bother you, and they just agitate you, and you can feel it, and it hurts and it's sharp. And, in doing the work that I've done, and maybe with this book, those shards of glass tumble through your life process and become like what sea glass is now. So when you walk on a piece of sea glass, it's not sharp and it's not as hurtful. You notice it and you're aware of it, but it's like that softening, of what we're attached to, and that softening of what makes us suffer. We're still aware of it.
Mm-hmm.
We can now, hold it without fear, and we can recognize it, and we can be aware of it and do whatever we need to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not, causing us that sharp, intense, emotional reaction or whatever it may be that it has caused you in your life.
Yeah. I just keep hearing you say you don't, the fear, there's no fear of it anymore. And
you're just aware of it, and you're able to embrace it. You're able to recognize it and be aware of it and bring it into you. Mm-hmm. And say, okay, instead of emotionally react to whatever it is that is causing you this mental, physical discomfort, you can say, okay, what can we do with this? Like, how can we take this and, not necessarily like use it, or how can we just work with it in a way that helps us in our, in our life journey?
And I'm just hearing like, how can we work with this so that it doesn't limit us? Because I'm thinking of the whole glass scenario, and me walking on a beach, I would do everything in my power to avoid walking on glass, which could get me to the point where I stopped walking on the beach when I love the beach.
Right.
So it would make my life very limited and small.
Right.
So that whole thing of not being afraid, we don't have to be afraid of it. I was sharing with Greg. It's Janice. Hi, Janice. She says, what a great discussion. Thank you, Greg. I wish I could be there. But we hope you were having a great time on your vacation. I love your picture. Cute
yes,
little.
For sure.
Thank you, Lynn. I was sharing with Greg about, I feel like we're all being challenged to really let go of the attachment to old emotions and experiences that have maybe at one point caused us harm and sadness. And something that's coming up for me is this is the 30-year anniversary of my mom being gone. I am the age that she was when she died. And it's really caught me off guard because I've done a lot of work in this and releasing the grief. And we learn to live with grief. I don't believe we ever let it go, but that's my limited belief, I guess. But yeah, this has proven to be a really, because I feel like I'm really at the core of it. And the question I keep hearing is like a younger version of me saying, who am I without this pain and suffering that I carry? Well, I'm like, the me here is like, I want to freaking let this go. This does not feel good. I don't have to carry it anymore. So I'm in the middle of that conflict where the younger me doesn't want to let go of that attachment yet. So if you have any wisdom you could share, I would greatly appreciate it.
I don't know if I have any wisdom on it, but I just know, like going through things, too, that I've been through, I've always been able to get through things easier. I realized that in trying to, let's say, push things away or to
Avoid.
shield myself of things, that's when they come back even stronger, because it's almost like your lower egoic mind saying, no, 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 you're not just pushing this away. Like, we're coming back at you, sometimes even stronger. So that's when, at least for me personally, when I've gone through stuff, if I, take that. So let's say you have that wounded young child, right? Or that wounded inner child with, in you, then, that's when you can like sit with them and you can, recognize them and you can recognize the pain. And that's when you can like bring them into you. And you can, let them know that, like almost like you treat them as if, let's say, like your own child has experienced the loss, you wouldn't push that loss away. You would bring them into you and you would love them and you would embrace them and you would make them feel heard and make them feel valued and make them feel like, whatever it is that they're going through is okay. And, how can we still hold the memory of the person that we treasure, because we're never going to lose those memories. But then how is that grief? It's not like the grief has to be attached to the memory, because the grief isn't creating the memory. The grief is just creating the suffering. And then for some reason we've attached, those two together. It's like that piece of glass, if you will, attached to that beautiful moment that you have in your mind. So, why not, see those beautiful memories and honor that grief, but say, you know what, like we don't have to have that grief with the memory. Like we had those beautiful moments with this person. We have these beautiful memories, and, they're still with us, today. How is this grief serving us? And if it's not, then you like, just you love that and you honor that, and you allow that inner child within you to just get to the point where they're okay with letting that grief go, because they know that sadness, right, isn't going to, the memories and the feelings aren't going to lose or be lost, because now there's not some sharp stabbing emotion with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not needed, so that's how I've dealt with things. I've met with like my younger self, or sad in prayer and meditation, and I can kind of like visualize, because I had something that I was going through, and at first when I visualized, that part of my ego, they were just like kind of huddled in a corner and just upset and scared. But as I talked to them more and honored them more, and it's like they trusted my higher self more, they like grew. And whenever I meet with them now, it's like they're like this big strong figure, and it's like, okay, now they're not like this huddled, little person anymore that's injured and upset. free of that. And that's just how I've, been able to, to get through things. But it's,
No, see, you did it again. You did it again for me. Because I think what I'm dealing with is the memory, of the death story. So whenever I have good memories and all that stuff of mom, they always get drawn to her very last day. They always get drawn to the events of that 48 hours.
Okay.
And I feel like that's, so you saying, I can still have the good memories and it doesn't have to attach me to her final 48 hours. It doesn't have to do that. I have permission to let that go.
Yeah.
Thank
you. Sure. You're welcome.
So I didn't realize until you were talking like that that's exactly what happens. So what it has limited me to do, I try not to think about my mother because it always draws me to those days. So how much have I sacrificed warm, fuzzy memories of my mother because I was too afraid to go to that place? So, wow. Thank you. And see, that's how Greg's book works. We had a living example.
There you go. Yeah.
And it's just you being you, man.
Yeah, I'm glad that resonated with you.
Oh, so thank you very much. Okay, let's hit that last slide, Silverio. This is what Greg's book looks like. We've talked a lot about, I don't think we need to read the back of the book information. No. But as soon as his link goes live, we will push it out. We'll push it out on the Be Here Now page. We'll share it under the video as well. We'll do a little announcement for you. And it should be in the next 48 hours. We're thinking it'll be set and ready to go.
Yeah, it should be. And I mean, I'm open if people, get it and they want to do book talks with it or discuss it, or
I feel like it would be a great book club thing.
Whatever it might be. Yeah, I mean, I'm here for whoever. Just message me, and whatever way you would want to, use it. I mean, or talk about it, or if someone has something that they're going through and, want a different perspective on things, perhaps. I mean, I'm here for whomever, but
I love that. And thank you. Thank you for coming and sharing this with us, sharing the journey of your book, and just thanks for being you.
Yeah, sure. No problem. Yeah. And hopefully that link will be live soon, and people can start buying it. That'd be awesome. And let me know how you like it.
Yes, you'll be able to find it on Amazon. Yep. Xin Xin Ming, How to Live Without Attachment in Today's World. Greg, thank you so much.
Yeah, sure.
We look forward to having you back again when you write another book.
I know the 45 minutes is fast. It goes by quick.
It does. It flies. All right. We want to thank everybody for joining us today. Please always remember, Janice, this is your part. You are not alone. And don't ever forget, you are awesome. We'll see you next time.